Hello, everyone. I'm back, and today we are doing a video that was actually requested by one of my commenters. So, today we will be doing Raven versus Winter. Now, in the comment, they did ask for us to put um, both of them as maidens, and we will. We will. But first, we're going to talk about them pre-maidens, so just base to base, and then we'll get into the maidens. So, starting off pretty clear cut and dry, Raven wins. Now, in this form, obviously. If we take Volume 3 Winter when she first appears versus Volume 3 Crow, we take that into account. She could keep up with Crow, Winter could, but it wasn't necessarily. Crow was very drunk and was not taking the fight as seriously as Winter was. So Crow definitely had a handle on it. And then moving on to the fact, Raven is stronger than drunk Crow. We know this because Crow does seem to get better and more competent after he quits booze, so that does seem to have a negative effect on him. Or the booze in particular had a negative effect on him, right?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. He's not like Master Roshi where he gets a new form of martial arts when he gets drunk. He doesn't get the drunken fist. But if we're going to the latest version, Winter has gotten significantly stronger, not just because of the maiden powers. She was also training with Weiss during Volume 7. So you add in on top of that she also had her fight with Ironwood, and simply put, combatants grow every single time they're in conflict. We actually get a whiff of this where Crow says that 1 week in the school is worth about 1 day in the real world. Basically, fighting and having true conflict makes huntsmen and huntresses grow stronger. So Winter should have gone significantly stronger. However, I doubt she got enough stat boosts without the maiden powers to beat Crow, considering Crow also got stronger, plus Crow did have an intense fight with Clover, which would have had him boost his stats even more. And then he did scurry with Harriet for a little bit. So, overall, I would say that base to base, Raven should have this. But now
Raven's
it's
winning. It's Winter, non-maiden.
Non-maiden. But maiden now, and we need to look at their fight with Cinder. So, with it, we gotta get off two things. One, Raven was damaged before the fight. Both Raven and Cinder were slightly damaged. Raven was damaged because she got sneak attacked by Cinder by basically getting frozen. Is that major damage? No. But at the same time, Cinder also got minor damage from John, and I think not the full blast, but a minor blast of Rwby Silver Eyes, or at least it started to affect. Right?
Yeah.
So they both went into the fight with minor damage, and then Cinder went bar for bar, blow for blow with Raven, but Raven, I would say, pretty soundly beat her. Right?
Yeah.
I feel like, yeah, because I feel like, don't get me wrong, it was pretty close, but it wasn't like Raven was dying afterwards. It was a decent difficulty fight, but if I had to almost put it in a number sense, it was a 6 or 7 out of 10 in difficulty. It wasn't a true hard she was so weak she couldn't stand up afterward, some fights in the show. But it was definitely higher difficulty than what Raven would typically fight from most people she's had to fight and deal with, right?
Yeah.
And then I I find it hard. Do you think Cinder has gotten stronger? Because I feel like she has since volume 5. Volume
Yeah,
5
I feel
Cinder.
like she had to have gotten stronger at
Volume
some point.
Volume 5 Cinder to Volume 8 Cinder, I feel like she got stronger, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it'd be weird if she did.
Yeah. And then, but now the question is, because here's the thing, I would argue Winter did worse against Volume 8 Cinder than Raven did against Volume 5 Cinder. So where does that lead us,
Yeah,
Because that Cinder is theoretically, or is unquantifiably stronger than the Cinder that fought Raven, but Raven was also unquantifiably stronger than the Cinder in Volume 5, right? So it's kind of
then the
like,
singer that she fought.
so we have an unquantifiable amount of strength above someone and an unquantifiable amount of strength since that opponent gained since they fought this opponent, right?
Yup.
So, but if we were making them even, I feel like Raven, I guess this is just me speaking off of the heart, but I feel like Raven would still be stronger in her base form.
Yeah,
Like,
but then how the main powers then affect them? Do they
yeah,
get strong? Like, do they get? Obviously, they get stronger when they're using their main powers.
yeah,
But like, how much stronger?
yeah. But also, like, does your maiden power, does it boost your attack potency, or does it let you control the weather and just the weather? See, because, like, to be fair, I haven't studied the maiden powers too much. I wouldn't. They're definitely a main part of the show, but as far as, like, what I've seen of them, I'm not able to distinctly remember. Because I know they have unimaginable power, but at the same time, what does that mean? Does that mean they, like, can swing their sword faster and run faster, or is it the fact that they can shoot lightning out of their fingertips? Because
Yeah.
I feel like both of those are considered unimaginable power. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. That sounds pretty unimaginable.
Like, I don't know. But I do also think this. I think Raven in her, like, if we're going base to base, Raven's stats would be a little bit higher than Winter's. But Winter's semblance also actually matters. Because I'm going to be frank, Raven's semblance
is not helping her this fight.
Yeah, it's kind of cheats.
At all.
Like, what's her plan? Unless she, like, carries around, like, Yang's lost arm and, like, tosses it around like a kunai. Like Minato's kunai attacks.
But instead, just Yang's the lost arm that she just so happened to find, even though it shouldn't.
She, like, throws.
At this point.
The thing is, too, also, we don't know if that would actually work. Like, if Raven could teleport. This is very off topic, but would, like, how much of the person does Raven need? Because I think she connects their aura, so do they also need to be alive? Right?
Right.
Because, like, could she theoretically go to Vernal's grave or not? Like, it's a weird. I don't know, but
essentially her power is to run away in this fight.
Yeah, but that's also the thing. Like, it doesn't really matter because Raven's power is just useless in this fight, whereas Winter straight up has all the same stuff as Weiss with, okay, I know we're going to bring it up because we always bring it up whenever we talk about the Schnees, time dilation, because it is a big deal. Would Winter even use it? Because we've never seen her use it. Plus, Weiss said in Volume 3, she was like, hey, I'm doing great on all my glyphs. I'm starting to get really good at time dilation. And then Winter almost, like, she, like, didn't care about time dilation and instead was like, hey, what about your summoning? You know?
Yeah.
And I think that with the maiden powers and her semblance, she could definitely do a lot more than Raven. But at the same time, I feel like summoning creatures isn't gonna do that much, you
Unless
know?
she can somehow buff them with her maiden powers.
That would be interesting to see. Because she uses that, is it the Sphinx? Or the Manticore? It It's the lion with the horns. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I think that's a Manticore.
Yeah. She like rides that one into battle a lot. She used it against Ironwood and all that. And then she used tiny Nevermores against Cinder, so we know that it also seemed to be very effective against Cinder.
Yeah.
So I don't know. To be fair though, Cinder's also far more reckless and aggressive, whereas I feel like Raven would do way more to just take out Winter, you know?
Yeah. I feel like Raven would be a lot more careful with what she does
Yeah.
while fighting with.
Yeah. Because Raven is a far more cunning and like level-headed combatant. She definitely
And
loses. Yeah.
Cinder kind of just runs at the opponent.
Dog, I genuinely think like you could lure Cinder into like a big oven or something, like a comically large oven, if you just had like Winter stand in it with a sign that says "I have the maiden powers." Like genuinely, like I know she's gone through some character arc and whatever BS.
But like, I'm pretty sure they would still end up that way.
Like dog, she is very impulsive. Even she like discovered Team Ruby's plan, and rather than like push Ruby off the infinite void that she knew about, instead she exploded in the middle of the circle where none of them were near her, and then goaded her to then rely on Neo to backstab her, which didn't work. And the only reason it worked is because Yang, the tired, exhausted Yang, who hadn't got sleep for 2 days, didn't think to football tackle Neo instead of just punching her in the face.
Yeah, because Yang definitely could have just football tackled Neo, and it would have been.
And like, worked. You know, I know we're getting kind of off topic, but my point is, you know, like Cinder had all this. She had all this planning. She literally asked the lamp, "What is Team Ruby doing?" And she had a perfect play-by-play explanation to see what they were doing. And she fumbled.
And then still fit, and then fumbled.
Yeah, and I gotta be honest, Raven is not that dumb.
Is not going to fumble like that.
Yeah.
So, unless Crow's nearby, then she might fumble.
Yeah, she gets very emotional with Crow, and also, I think, oddly enough, Rwby, I think it's because Rwby reminds her of Summer, so...
They look pretty similar.
I mean, yeah, let's not beat around the bush, okay? Summer Rose's Volume 6 design was literally just Rwby, just reskinned. Like, it's...
With different gradient to her hair.
Yeah. And like, to be
it's
fair,
just the opposite of Ruby's hair. Like,
yeah,
they are the same person.
And to be fair, like in Volume 9, she has her own redesign. It looks great. I actually really do like her new design. But anyway, basically, she loses her cool around very distinct people. So Salem, Rwby, Crow, Yang, and maybe Tai. I don't know about Tai, right? And I don't know if you've noticed, but none of those people really have any correlation to Winter. Like, Winter's not going to bring up Tai when she's fighting Raven. She's not going to bring up Crow, maybe. Actually, she might bring up Crow as like an insult. Like, you fight worse than your brother or something like that. Maybe she would say that, but at the same time, Winter doesn't really trash talk. You know?
Yeah, no, she doesn't at all.
Because the only person she really like engaged in conversation with was Cinder.
Cinder, then maybe Crow. That's probably about it.
I don't think Crow, because she started talking, right? And then they both went silent and fought. And then with Cinder, she had an opening line, and then she said something real. She said something mean to her. I think after Weiss fell, and then the only one I think she like talked to was when she was talking with Ironwood. But that also makes sense because like that was Ironwood, you know, the person she's
Yeah.
been working with for years, and who she views betrayed her, and the people of Atlas. And like, you know, I'm not getting into the Ironwood debate. You know, I feel like him blowing up Mantle was too far gone. Yeah. I, God, so many off topics. But anyway, basically, emotions were running high. And that's the thing. Winter and Raven are both level headed combatants, but they're not. The only time they lose their cool is when specific people are drawn on. And neither of them that's not gonna trigger. Like, the closest thing they know about one another is that probably Raven knows who Winter is because she knows about the Schnee family, and then Winter knows who Raven is because Raven's a famous bandit and Crow Bronwyn's twin sister, you know? Like, they don't have that attachment, so there's no emotions to be played at. And then it just comes down to A, who's more cunning, and B, who can utilize their arsenal the most. And if I'm being honest, I think Raven edges it out just by like a micro hair, you know?
Yeah.
Because here's the thing, Raven should be stronger and faster because her and her base stat is similar to Crow, who's slightly above Winter, right? Like,
Yeah.
so she should be slightly stronger in base, but Winter has a better semblance. But since they both have maiden powers, the semblance like advantage Winter has becomes less relevant because they can both shoot giant lightning bolts and laser beams at one another, you know?
Yeah.
So like I don't know. I feel, to be fair, I think this one is very close. Like, I would say they're, if you know, I've made a tier list about the strength of Rwby characters. I think I put them on the same tier. They are on the same tier. I just think that over time, as they're trading blows, if we were to say like, if every hit Winter gets in does like between 15 to 20% of Raven's health, I think Raven's hits do 20% to 25% of Winter's health.
Yeah,
So,
I'd say Winter most likely loses.
Yeah, so it's just, but it's very slight. Like, I think she's strong, right? But I think that Raven just having a better base is just gonna beat her, you know?
Like, the only thing that Winter has is like she could potentially overwhelm Raven with summons.
Yeah. But at the same time, the summons don't seem to be that durable. So are they going to, you know, like how
Too
much?
much.
Yeah, how
Or
much
are
are
they
they
just
going
gonna
to
be
do?
a distraction?
Yeah. And to be fair, a distraction will work. Maybe she'll get a hit in or two or something like that.
It will. She will not win the fight off of that, but
Yeah.
it'll be a little bit closer.
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah. Also, to be fair, I know this is gonna be a little weird, but I think Raven has had far more experience with her maiden powers. So I think that this will just kind of lead her to having a better understanding of it because she's had them for like 10 years.
Yeah,
Like,
then Raven just had the powers longer, so I'm pretty sure Raven wins off of that as well.
yeah, like she's had them for like over a decade. Like, that does matter. And compare that to Winter, who, even if we use like current Winter from like after Volume 9, it still has been what, like, say like 3 to 6 months, right? Like, that's not a lot of time.
No, it really isn't.
Yeah. To be fair, I gotta be honest, I think next time we see Winter, though, I think
she'll get a little bit stronger.
Yeah. Like, I gotta be honest, I think in Volume 10, I actually have money on probably both the Bronwyns dying. Like, I don't think Raven's making out of this show alive. I'm not gonna lie.
The only Bronwyn who'll probably make it out of the show alive is probably Crow.
Maybe Crow.
Honest.
I
And even then, he might die in the same fight he kills Tyrion.
Yeah.
He might kill Tyrion and then immediately die.
Like, die to, like, poison or something. Which I wouldn't really like, but at the same time, it's kind of like the sensei almost always dies. And, like, Crow is the closest thing to a sensei.
I is going to be the final member of his family. Is going to be the only member of his family to be still alive, and Gang's the only Bronwyn who's going to be left by the end of the show.
Yeah.
And even Gang's not really a Bronwyn.
Yeah. I don't know. To be fair, though, I think if we do go, like, in the future, like, Rwby does have this stuff about the newer generation surpassing the older generation. And we can even look at this like, okay, Crow literally said in Volume 6 that Team Rwby was a lot better than Team Stark was at their age. And you can kind of, like, well, even you can infer that now, because, like, Winter, she's only, what, like, 20... She's gotta be, like, in her, what, mid-20s, maybe? Like, she definitely hasn't hit 30. Meanwhile, Raven's probably in her late 40s, early 50s, I would say.
And then yeah, Crow should be around that same age as well.
Well, Crow's the exact same age as Raven.
Because they're twins.
Yeah. But yeah, so I think, like, that future version of Winter, I think Winter's gonna grow at a faster rate than Raven has. So I think eventually, Winter will surpass Raven. But right here, right now, you know, Volume 9, Raven versus Volume 9 Beyond Raven versus Volume 9 Beyond Winter. I think Raven has it, because I think she has more experience, her base stats are a little bit higher, and since they both have maiden powers, the semblance advantage that Winter has doesn't necessarily matter too much. Make sense?
Yeah.
Do you have anything you would like to add, Evan?
Not really. Can't think of anything.
Alrighty. Well, folks, you know, obviously shout out to the person who requested this. We are also going to make your other video, just that takes time. And this is my second channel, so I have to push out stuff for my main channel and this channel. So if you're waiting and you get mad about the wait, I'm sorry, but yeah. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the video. I do want to hear your opinions, because I think this one is so close that you could probably argue it either way. But for now, I'm gonna peace out and probably get to editing or making a thumbnail. So, goodbye.